Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. So I'm sure we're all excited going into this season. We've been waiting for months and months and months. And we got a good game tomorrow. So I got fantasy league after fantasy league after fantasy league. I'm sure you all are trying to wrap up your last little season's preparations before you get into this NFL season. And if you're going through SeatGeek to buy any tickets this year, use code DIGGE. You'll get $20 off of any ticket that you go through SeatGeek with. You type in code DIGGE, you'll get $20 off. Not 20% off, $20 off. So I would definitely take advantage of that. Use that throughout the entire season if you like. But let's get into this video. So this is week 1 of the Giants season. I have talked my fair share of trash about not believing in this team, but you can never go into week 1 as an NFL fan, as any kind of fan of any sport, as a real fan, and not be wanting to go in there and win that game. And of course, I want to win every game. But I wanted to take this systematically. We don't have a bunch of stats for this season. We don't have tendencies for what they do with this season. We don't have anything. We don't have advanced stats. We don't have much anything to go off of, including our own team. We can only use preseason, and that's vanilla. So first, I want to kind of go through this by kind of position, but sort of at a higher level, sort of at a macro level. Starting off with quarterback, I'll go to offense, I'll go to defense, I'll go to special teams, and then I'll go to coaching. So without any further ado, let's get straight to it. Starting off with Daniel Jones and Ryan Tannehill. We already know who the better quarterback is, Ryan Tannehill. He's been a vet for a very long time at this point. He started off really rough, not to the extent of being as bad as what people say Daniel Jones is, but he had some struggles early on in his career. I thought he was kind of counted out. I think he had a really good season, I think, in his first 2 years, and people just kind of swept it under the rug. Very similar quarterbacks, if you think about it, the way they play the game. 2 quarterbacks who have burners, who can really run the ball and can really fly in a straight line, not really elusive, but if you lead them a path, they can take off and they can be gone. So Ryan Tannehill still has some of that in his game. He's not as fast as he was, maybe 2-3 years ago, but he still got some speed to him. He still is going to run for first downs. If you leave it completely open, he'll run for 20, 30 yards. He's a guy that's accurate with the ball at this point of his career. He makes smart decisions, doesn't turn the ball over for the most part. He's able to turn around and hand that ball off to Derrick Henry, which I'll get to a little bit later on when I go to the offense as a whole. But Ryan Tannehill has been at very worst an above average quarterback. I wouldn't call him elite, but I would say he's an above average quarterback. He's a guy that maybe isn't the reason that you're winning, but he's making plays. A guy put up at his height, he put up 33-7 maybe 3 years ago. So the guy can play. He is not to be taken lightly. I know some Giants fans are going to say Ryan Tannehill, blah, blah, blah. They're going to talk. But Ryan Tannehill is not to be taken lightly. Now, Daniel Jones is in his what? I mean, if you count Freddie Kitchens, he's had like 4 or 5 offensive coordinators, or 4 offensive coordinators now. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating, 3. Either way, Daniel Jones has had a ton of change in his career so far, ton of offensive line issues, ton of everything that has just gone wrong and has been bad for him so far in his career. And he's looking to turn the corner this year. And how else can you start the year off firing than to go into Tennessee and, go ahead and have a great performance? Now, do I believe that Daniel Jones is capable of having that type of performance? Yes, I do. But he has to make great decisions, which for the most part in his career, I think he's done for the most part, except maybe 2 or 3 times a game where things just kind of just get out of hand, where he just doesn't make the best decision for the moment. But if he can avoid that, he can go out there and have a good game. I mean, the weapons are there. The offensive line is there. The offense is there. As far as the scheme, much better than it has been the past 2 years. So he's got every opportunity to go out there, and it won't be easy. because I'll get to their defense in a little while, but I think he has all the tools, of course. He has all of the tools as Ryan Tannehill, maybe even a little bit more. He's just got to put it all together, and that's what we're all waiting for. So, Titans fans that are hearing me talk about Daniel Jones, you could see a guy that goes out there and terrorizes your defense. You could see a guy that gives your defense a day off. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to have to give this edge to Ryan Tannehill over Daniel Jones. I think everybody would agree with that at this point in their careers. Daniel Jones has the possibility to become a better quarterback as the season goes along, but right now it's Ryan Tannehill over Daniel Jones. So that part is out of the way. Moving on to offense as a whole. First, I want to kind of talk about both offenses. The Titans, they want to run the ball. There's no bones about it. They want to run the ball. They want to punch you in the mouth. Taylor Lewan, Derrick Henry, Robert Woods are three guys that I'm looking at. I'm really watching, and those three can really, make the game a hard-nosed, smash-mouth type of game. And when I say Robert Woods, that guy is one of the top pass-blocking receivers in the league. Taylor Lewan has always been a big, mobile, strong, nasty left tackle who also is a good pass protector. So the guy can do it all. He's physical. He's fast for an offensive lineman. And then you got the ultimate guy who's, fast, physical, strong, smart, can catch the ball on the screen. He's not going to really run any routes down the field, but he's gonna make some plays all day long for you if you don't get 5-6 people in the area to make sure that Derrick Henry, who I'm talking about, goes down to the carpet. If you don't get 2-3 guys there, and one guy could possibly take him down, it's possible, but if you're not considerably making sure that you're swarming to that ball, if there's not 2-3 people around him every time he touches that ball, it's gonna be a field day for him. So number one thing right there is going to be swarming, which I'll get to with our defense. And I mean, this is no secret. The most important thing going into this game for the Giants is blocking, run blocking, pass blocking, and tackling. Especially when you got a guy like Derrick Henry, especially when you got a guy like Robert Woods, who also is not a guy that's the easiest to bring down, and a guy like Treylon Burks, who they're pretty much saying is a carbon copy almost of AJ Brown. But looking at the rest of that offense, talking about their receivers, they have Treylon Burks. They have, and if you see me looking left or right, it's because I'm looking at my notes. They have Treylon Burks. They have a guy who, honestly, I didn't hear much about, Westbrook Akine, who I looked, he actually has his birthday was 2 days after my birthday. So pretty cool to see that. But anyway, didn't hear much about him, but I went and researched him. I looked him up. He's got some good plays and is under his belt. He's a guy that I wouldn't say he's about 6'2", 200 pounds, average build for a wide receiver. Not the fastest, not the tallest, but he made some plays for them last year, almost 500 yards, 38 catches. And of those 38 catches, 23 were first downs and 4 were touchdowns. So this could be a guy that could possibly break out. This could be a guy that if he gets, instead of 38 catches, gets 80 catches. That's, if you keep everything the same, that's about, 40-something first downs, 50 first downs, and 8 touchdowns. So he's a guy that I'm not going to underestimate, especially given the state that the Giants' defense is in right now, especially their secondary. And that's one guy that stood out. Obviously, I feel like their number one guy going into this game is Robert Woods. He's the most experienced. He's the guy that is going to have that veteran presence going into this game. So Robert Woods is definitely standing out there. And then you look at Treylon Burks, who I said is kind of like an AJ Brown copy. You got to tackle. You got to make sure that you keep a hat on him. You got to make sure that if he catches that ball, you take him down. Make sure that he's not going up over the top of the defense. Make sure he's not running down the field open. Pretty much self-explanatory stuff. He's a guy that even though he's a rookie, you got to look out for him. The Giants 2 years ago allowed Chase Claypool to make key plays that really had us losing those games. So that's the guy I'm looking out for. They've got a ton of places they can go on offense. So I'm not going to discount them just losing AJ Brown as, they're not going to be able to move the ball, because first of all, they can run the ball with the best of them. And second of all, they got an offensive line that can pass protect and run block. And then third of all, they've really got those three receivers that, you look at our three corners, I would say that their three receivers are better. So offense, Tennessee wins, sadly. And then looking at the Giants offense, we have a ton of we've got a ton of weapons all over the place. The thing is, the Giants' weapons have not proven that they can stay healthy. Kadarius Toney's coming off of an injury. Kenny Golladay was injured a couple of weeks ago with the hip in practice, but he played in that last preseason game, so not much to look out for with Kenny Golladay. But a ton of these guys have injury histories. Sterling Shepard is coming off the Achilles. Bellinger is coming off of an injury. So we got a ton of weapons, but we have to prove that these weapons can stay healthy. If they can't stay healthy, there's no point. There's no point in them being out there if they can't last the whole game. So if these weapons can stay healthy, they have some guys in Tennessee secondary that can be taken advantage of as far as them being young players going up against a system that they haven't been able to study as much, because this is the first time the Giants are going to be running this system. So I would say that we have a ton of weapons, but when you look at everything, I mean, the offensive line is still a project as far as Andrew Thomas is solidified. Evan Neal is a highly touted rookie, but you have to see him do it. And then the rest of the guys like Glow, very solid veteran. Feliciano, hopefully he can start. But the rest of it is kind of a modge podge. They've looked great in preseason, but I want to see them carry it over to the regular season. If they can, then Daniel Jones will have the chance to get the ball to some of these weapons down the field and screen plays. This is going to be a very creative offense. I can't wait to see this offense in short area and in the red zone. I think that this gives us a lot of chances to succeed if the offensive line can block. Now, I'll use this as a sort of a springboard to looking at Tennessee's defense. So when you look at Tennessee's defense, they got a hard-nosed coach. They got a defensive-minded coach. And they play physical, as I said about their offense. Bud Dupree and Jeffrey Simmons are the guys. Danico Autry, another guy that I'm looking at along the front of this defensive line. And you got to look out for those guys. They can rush the passer. They can stop the run. They can shoot gaps. They can wreck the game. They can all kind of wreck the game. I would say mostly Bud Dupree and Jeffrey Simmons are guys that can really wreck a game for you. So those are something that the Giants offensive line is going to have to come ready to block. Andrew Thomas, I'm not worried about, but Bud Dupree can always go to the other side, and we got a rookie. No matter how good he was in college, we've got a rookie in his first game. That is the key matchup. I think if Evan Neal can win the battle for whoever he's going against, then that's the key matchup for this game, in my opinion, for the Giants offense to be successful. If Evan Neal can hold up, Andrew Thomas I know will hold up. I think everything else just falls under that. So again, I gave the edge to Tennessee because of the offensive line, because of the star power. But the Giants offense can definitely do things. And then who am I to forget about Saquon Barkley? Saquon Barkley is coming off. He's coming off of a couple of down years. He's been injured, but he's looked the best he's looked since he was, in his second year before he got hurt. So if we can get that Saquon, that's another thing that's a game changer. There's no answer to a healthy Saquon for any team in this league. You can contain that guy, but you cannot stop him, from ultimately going out and having that 50, 60-yard play. It happens once a game when Saquon is healthy. So that's something to watch out for Titans fans, for Giants fans. If Saquon is running loose, it gives us a much higher chance of winning the games. Another thing I would look at is, does Saquon have more yards than Derrick Henry? All-purpose yards, if Saquon can do that, I think the Giants have a good shot at winning this game. Looking at the rest of their defense, they got Zach Cunningham out there. They've got Byard and Hooker, one of the best safety combinations in the league back there. They got a lot of young talent there. And when I say young, they can probably be taken advantage of if the Giants receivers are healthy and if they're able to execute at the end of the day. They're still good players, even though they're young. You got McCrary, you got Christian Fulton, you got Caleb Farley. So those are 3 really good corners, in my opinion. But they're just young players, and we got to see if we can go in there and take advantage of it. Got to see if we can go in there and do it. And then a quick thing for the Giants, the keys on defense are just going to be whoever Aaron Robinson is on. We got to make sure that we give Aaron Robinson help. Hopefully, this guy we just signed, Fabian Moreau, who's a veteran, hopefully he can be some sort of solid for us. If he's not, this game could be a train wreck for us in the secondary. So hopefully Moreau can come in and start across from Adoree Jackson and play well. And we're going to have to give Aaron Robinson a lot of help because he's been struggling all preseason. He struggled last year. Darnell Holmes has struggled in the slot in the past. So I'm not going to ignore that in the secondary. That's my biggest issue. Xavier McKinney and Julian Love should be a solid safety pairing back there. But it's about those corners. And then it's about the big elephant in the room that's missing. Blake Martinez is gone. Blake Martinez is gone, and the Giants are probably going to be sticking Tony Jefferson in there, probably Tate Crowder in there, Micah McFadden, and it's going to be middle linebacker by committee. Everybody's going to be playing middle linebacker, in the various packages. We're going to be sending a bunch of blitzes that hopefully those blitzes will be able to force some turnovers for us, and it's going to be a team effort to make up for what Blake Martinez provided to the team. And it's going to be tough to get through. Our 2 edge rushers look like they probably won't be playing, but I'm hoping that this gives us an advantage somewhat because, listen, if our 2 top, edge rushers aren't playing, and that means we probably are going to be doing a lot of focusing on making sure we stop the run. So that's something that we need to do before anything is stop the run. But I'm giving Tennessee the edge on defense because they're more established. They've been good for years. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about special teams. Graham Gano is a top 3 or 4 kicker in the league. I'm going to go with that. I'm not really sure who the Titans punter is at this point because I did a bunch of research on the offense and defense, but I do not remember for the life of me who their punter is. But actually, I'll give it a split because our punter is going to be punting for the first time pretty much. So I'll give it a split. I'll give it a push. And then lastly for coaching, we already know Brian Dable is coming to his first year. He's had a great offense. He's done a lot of great things in the league so far. Most importantly, coaching up Josh Allen to being the guy that he is. But let's be real. Mike Vrabel has been doing this for years. He's been doing it for years. He's been successful. He's had multiple playoff appearances. I'm going to give the edge to the coaching staff in Tennessee until the Giants staff can prove to me that they're better. All right, so to wrap it up, the keys of this game for the Giants are going to be stopping the run, tackling when they get there, not making sure that they don't give up the big plays to those receivers, with especially guys like Aaron Robinson in the secondary, and making sure that they protect Daniel Jones and are able to try to get some sort of a running game established with Saquon Barkley. And then I would say the keys for the Titans are just play their game. They're a better team. If they play their game and they don't make mistakes, the Titans should win this game, but the Giants are going to send a bunch of blitzes. They're going to have a bunch of, misdirection kind of plays, and we'll see if they're able to steal a win in week 1. You guys let me know who you think will win. Have a good one. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.